And welcome to yet another session of our question of the week, our Q&A for parent and educators. The purpose of this Q&A is to empower all with resources and strategies and skills and to help students succeed. That's the bottom line. Basically, there will be a question every week from you, the viewer. We'll address it the best that we know how. And the great thing is, it's not just me addressing this, but this is many educators and many others, professionals worldwide, helping you as a teacher or you as a parent or you as a student. If you have a question, please go to tinyurl.com/eduologyq. And if you have comments and strategies to help us with this question of the week, make sure you post them in the comments below. All right, so let's get started. This question this week comes from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Here's the question. I'm a first-year teacher teaching 4th grade. I have a difficult time with behavior, especially students. They talk in the hallway, they talk during work time, they talk when I'm teaching. I have tried everything positive, like the marbles in the jar for the hallway behavior, but my class does not seem interested. If you have any advice, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so the marbles things just didn't reach your class. That's natural. When I first started teaching, I did the little hooks where we cut out strips of paper, and then you glue it together, and then you have one ring, and then you would add another ring, and you would paste it or post it somewhere on the ceiling. And if the ring hit the bottom of the floor, they got a popcorn party. The kids were all about it, maybe about that first week. And I mean, they were just spot on trying to get that external reward of the popcorn party. Week 2 came along, they were having none of that. Next thing I know, they're trying to jump up and slam the ball and slam their air ball on the rings. And some were like, I'm Tarzan. And they were they were having none of it. That was very funny. I had to sit, I had to reflect. I asked some of my good friends, some of my colleagues, why is this not working? Because in the Harry Wong book, it talks about this, and this is what I saw my other student teachers do, and it worked, and why isn't it working for me? One of the teachers' first thing they said was, you have to be relentless. Consistently relentless. Not about the rings, it's about your expectations for your amazing students. So the first thing, be consistently relentless. You started off your year in collaboration and teams, and you created rules and you created procedures and you practiced them for 1 and 2 weeks and you really worked on it, and then you quit. Why? Be creatively, consistently relentless. When behavior is not what you expect, you stop it right there. Be relentless, be fair. For that one student who always needs support and you're always on them and you're always jumping on them, be relentless. At the same time, for that one kid who never gets in trouble, but then that kid kind of looks around and thinks that he or she can get away with it, and then they act up or they do something that is not your expectation, be relentless. You've got to be fair for all of those students. You've got to be relentless. Because what will happen is that those students will quickly realize that you're not fair. You're fair to that one kid who's always in trouble, but for the other kids, you let them slide. You let it happen. And then they will rebel like you've never seen it before. You gotta practice being consistently relentless. Practice 1,000,000 times. Model it. Make it funny. Do what you need to do. Explain why it's important for you to be relentless inside of your classroom culture. Explain how it makes amazing citizens outside in the real world. Explain how you just can't have this type of behavior at a job, at a bank, at a park, at a library, because there are consequences that could happen from it. You gotta practice, be relentless. What's the goal of this? The goal is to inspire students to greatness inside and outside of your classroom. So they have to be respectful to others who are pursuing that same greatness inside of the classroom, outside of the classroom. So do not allow that behavior to snowball. The first time you see those students going crazy and not meeting the expectations, stop your lesson. Stop that snowball from ever forming. Be relentless in your pursuit. Address the root of that problem. If they are walking down the hall and while they're walking, they're not walking the correct way and kids are stopping to get drinks and you allow it to happen and other kids don't get a chance to get drinks. No. Stop all of that up front. Be relentless. Put responsibility on the student immediately. Is that our expectations? Did you make a wise choice? Be relentless in that. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't say, well, I feel. No. Stick to your rules. Stick to your expectations. Stick to your classroom culture. Stick to the norms that you guys created. Be relentless. If something rises inside of a specials or an activities and they're disrespecting that teacher, don't let it slide. Nope. Address it. Be relentless. Okay, the second thing, try something about called Love and Logic. I read this book, Love and Logic. It's a really good read. Basically, the kids are going to make mistakes because every kid does. But inside of Love and Logic, they got to be held accountable for those mistakes. Oftentimes, we teachers, we'll allow it to slide because, they're kids or they made a poor choice or we're afraid that they're going to be mean to us or I want to be their friend and their homie. And no. Inside of Love and Logic, they say, hey, there's these consequences no matter what. You made a poor choice. I love you as a student. I still respect you as a student. I will still honor you as a student. You still have this consequence, though. And so that's Love and Logic. The author, Jim Fay, talks about locking in your empathy, locking in that love, locking the appreciation of those students. I love you. I don't care what background you came from. I don't care your situation. I don't care what issues you're struggling with or not struggling with. I love you. But even though you messed up, you still have consequences. Good or bad, you still have consequences no matter what. You hold the kids accountable and allow them to focus just on their behavior in that situation and not the person. You provide them lots of choices and tell them that the poor decisions versus the good decisions will become consequences in some way. It may be a good consequence or a bad consequence, but it will be consequential no matter what. And then when it's reinforced with practice and scaffolding, next thing you know, your students will start processing a little better. And then they'll say to themselves, am I making a wise choice before I actually do what I do? And that's good or bad as well. That's Love and Logic. The third thing, extrinsic motivation. And this is kind of what you tried to do at the beginning with the marbles in the jar. For those who are not familiar with it, the marbles in the jar are that you have a jar. You try to have a bigger jar so you can put more marbles in it. And every time a student does something great inside the classroom, or every time a student honors a great citizenship or something, you grab a marble, you put it in. Then they hear the marble bounce on the glass, and it's kind of like Pavlov's dog, and they all kind of look around like, oh, I did something good, and they kind of go from there. That's basically it. I've seen other teachers do the exact same thing, and then they count and they say, well, how many marbles do we have in it? And the kid who has the most marbles, who made the best guess and the estimate, gets to choose an additional reward for the class because whatever. Those motivations do work. If that works for your class, ride with it even more. Here's another suggestion. If you have something called Class Dojo. Class Dojo is a website. It's also an app, and it provides pretty much the exact same thing. It easily awards the feedback and gives feedback and points based off of behavior, based off of citizenship, based off of being a helper, positive consequences and the negative consequences. And it's all just with one click on your phone or one click on your website. What I like about Class Dojo, you can email it out to your parents as well, so then they can see in real time how your student is doing throughout the day. I've seen teachers walk around up and down the hall with it. They have it on their phone and they're looking at the kids while the kids are walking to class or walking to the restroom or walking to lunch or wherever they're walking. And then you'll just hear boom, boom, and some small little beat. And so now, once again, Pavlov's dog, they hear it and they're like, well, was that me? Was I doing something right, doing something correct? And so those who may not be doing something correct, they straighten up and fly right because they heard the beep. I've seen other teachers use it during the lesson. They're teaching like their hair is on fire, and then the kid is doing something inappropriate. They keep teaching. They just walk straight to a little area and they push the button because it is on the website or it's on their app. They push the button and they hear a negative tone. And the negative tone, next thing you know, the kid kind of straightens up, flies right. It gives reports on it, which I think is pretty cool too. So if you're a school or you're a teacher and you want like a behavior report to give out to parents or as a class or to your principal, Class Dojo could be something neat. Another one is it's an app. And this app is called StickPic. StickPic is a paid app. Sorry about that. For Apple, it's about $3.99. For Android, it's about $2.99. Same kind of concept. It's just more of the classic style of management. Not the little cute fuzzy things of Class Dojo. Class Dojo, every kid has a small little avatar that they can create and customize. On this app, StickPic, they don't have that. But what they can do, what it is, it's a stick. Imagine those old school days of having like a cup and then you had the popsicle sticks on the inside and then you can pull out which one at which time for which thing. And so it was just an interactive way to keep kids involved and engaged and who's going to be my line leader this week or this day. And it's a digital cup and you push the button and then it pulls out a popsicle stick and it gives the student's name that you've inserted in there. I've seen some people actually like that. I've seen others who do not. Another one that I've used is a spin wheel thing. And this it's online. This one's free. It's online where you insert everybody's name into a wheel, very similar to like Wheel of Fortune. And so now you have everybody's name on this wheel. You push the button, the wheel spins around and it stops. And whose ever name it stops, it's that person's job or it's that person's turn or it's that person's decision. Just giving these small little options like that kind of help. The last thing that I would suggest is Remind. It used to be called Remind 101, but now they took off the 101 and they just now call it Remind.com. What I love about Remind.com, it is all smartphone or tablet based or email based. So it's a safe way where teachers can text out a message to a student or to a parent to stay in touch with them. So those small reminders like, oh, there's a grade level meeting for all third grade at this time on such and such day at such and such time. Here's a reminder. Or, oh, we've got the project due next Friday. Please make sure that blah, 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 blah. It's really good. What I like about it, one, it's free. 2, they cannot reply back to you, so they don't really know your phone number. What they do, they know Remind's app's number, which is pretty cool. You can schedule these reminders ahead of time, which is really amazing as well. So you can just schedule them and forget about it because we're all busy, and it still shoots it out to them as well. It translates the messages in about 70 languages total. Still kind of be careful with that because some of the transcript may seem a little different. And then you can see who's reading your messages and who's not. So the parents can sign up, sign in, get the Remind messages, and then you can get an analog or you can get a report based on who's been viewing the message and who hasn't. So then you can reach out to them as well. If they do not have a smartphone where they can't get text messages, then they can still keep in touch with them via email if you choose to do it that way. My advice to you on this is, yes, your students are going to do what they try to do. Since they are at an elementary age, be consistently relentless, no matter what. Always helping, always modeling, always teaching, even in your middle of your lesson, even if guests come. If the President of the United States comes to your classroom and one of your students start to misbehave, shut it down and have that talk and that conversation with them there. If the principal is there trying to evaluate you and there are some kids being a little off, it's okay to stop your lesson and address those issues. Be consistently relentless. The second thing, try to use love and logic. Love and Logic is a good book. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Goodreads. I'm sure if you search hard enough on the internet, you probably could find the PDF version of it as well. Number 3, try extrinsic motivators. Try some things differently to see if it will help your kids. Perhaps it is the jar with the marbles. Perhaps it is the rings from the ceiling. Perhaps it is a popcorn party. Who knows? Perhaps it could be extra recess or not. Try to do anything you can to help your students with that. Okay, I appreciate you. That was a great question for today. Let's wrap this thing up, shall we? Let's keep this conversation going. If you have some suggestions to help this first year teacher, to help her with classroom management, put them in the comment section below. We would love some extra strategies, tips, and tricks, or even books that you've read that could help out with here. We would really appreciate that. Tune in next week for our next Q&A. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you all watching these videos and helping all of us grow together. For those who are commenting below, I really appreciate you as well. Thank you for participating. As always, it takes a village. It still takes a village to help raise and teach and educate today's children. I appreciate you for watching.